once again, this time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show. Yeehaw!
And good evening. Hope all is well on this beautiful Sunday evening. So nice to say that with all the bad weather we've had. I think in most areas of the country, the weather is a lot better. We had a beautiful day here. We need to dry out, obviously, some and in some areas and allow for recovery efforts to continue. Had a good day at church. I've had a good day with the podcast. And looking forward to a news update tonight about elections. We'll talk about a few issues. Number one is, of course, the breaking news about possibly a third attempt on former President Donald J. Trump's life. And we hope that that's not the case, but the local sheriffs seem to think that. We'll get an update from the news cycle on that. And just to let you know, though, we have been talking elections today. Some of it was, for us, it was local or state of Georgia, although we were talking more particularly local to my area. We were definitely talking, just integrity, elections integrity and stuff as well, and just those local issues that'll be the same. Generally the same in every area. People talking about fiscal responsibility, transparency, and stuff like that. So, I enjoyed very much our interview today that we had, and with State Rep 3rd District Mitchell Horner, and he will be back. He has offered to come back as often we need him or would like him to come back, and he is on the ballot. He is running unopposed and will win his election when he votes. And so he'll serve another 2 years and then he'll end up running again. I'm sure he'll want to run again. He's very young, and that's a good thing. So we look at these folks there, and I say very young. I mean, he's in a good age where he can serve for a while if he so chooses. And he did run against someone his first term that he won. But then after that, for this election, he was unopposed. So I've always said I like to see people have opposition just because I think it makes you, makes you campaign, makes you talk about issues and stuff. But he's more than willing to do that. But I just like debate, and I like things to be given a look over on both sides and from all sides. And I think running against someone helps with that, because obviously they're gonna try to poke holes in your administration and the things you voted on or voted against, or and so that makes you defend your choices, and everybody may be completely happy with the choices that you've made, or they may not, and that gives you, in most cases, you're going to people on both sides of that gives you an opportunity to speak on those things. But sometimes there's not anyone to run. And so we're not going to fault a person for that, because if you're unopposed, you're unopposed. And that has not his decision. That's others who decided not to run. So we talked a lot about, and that interview is out there. I'm not going to go over that in this program, but we did post that on several streams. Facebook and YouTube got it first because I was at church. And we don't do those live, and that automatically goes to a lot of our streams if we do it live. But those will be going up. In fact, one just went up to Rumble, and it'll be up on X here just as soon as I get off the air. Ran out of time, getting back from church, getting a few things done, and trying to catch up on the news, the late news. And, of course, obviously the late news is that the Coachella rally that President Trump was at, they arrested a gentleman who it's a really weird story, and so we have to kind of wait for more investigation to be done. But he was released on bond, and there's just a lot to be concerned about. I've looked at two different news This is from Fox, but I've looked at New York Post, and I don't mind looking at any of the three letters that work. So I'll see what they have to say, but I just grabbed this one because it was what came up first. But this gentleman's name, he claims, the suspect claims he backs the ex-president. His name was Vern Miller, 49 years old, and he was found to be illegally in possession of a shotgun, a loaded handgun, and a high-capacity magazine. He as well tried to come through security with some fake tags on the vehicle. He said they were obviously fake. He also had passports, if I remember this from the story, passports with different names. The vehicle was unregistered and a fake license plate and loaded firearms. So why would you be coming into an event like that with all that going on, with all the secrecy and the fakeness and all that, if you didn't have something bad planned? That's what the local sheriff has said. He says in this gentleman's name, I was trying to get his name. I see his last name. His name is Sheriff. This is Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. And so Bianco, one of the things that he said was, if you're asking me right now, I probably did have deputies that prevented the third assassination attempt. That's strong. And he continued and said that the deputy noticed that the interior of the vehicle was in quiet disarray. Lord knows some of our vehicles might be that way, but that is things he could look at, like it, just probably. I'm just taking it, things were strewn about. He also noticed that the fake license plate, which he said was obviously fake, and that prompted further investigation from the deputy into why the person was there and what he was doing there. And during that evaluation, the deputy then eventually found multiple passports with multiple names, multiple driver's licenses with different names. And according to the Fox article, that the vehicle was unregistered and the license plate was what we in law enforcement would recognize as one that is homemade and indicative of a group of individuals that claim to be, here we go, sovereign citizens. Well, good grief. On a side note, if you happen to be one and you're listening in, you need your game is not good. I talked to one day, and some of the stuff they said scared me more than things that our enemies say. Just crazy. But anyway, sovereign citizens, the article goes on to say, believe they're not under the jurisdiction of the federal government and consider themselves exempt from U.S. law. They use a variety of conspiracy theories and falsehoods to justify their beliefs and their activities, some of which are illegal and violent, according to the Sovereign Citizens Movement website. Bianco went on to say, I knew this was going to happen. I couldn't care less about what political party he belongs to. I think that the stupidest thing in the world that we have to is to label something, and we're labeling that as politics. He was a lunatic. He was, Bianco said about Miller, this Vern Miller. And from my perspective, he goes on to say, quote, in law enforcement, it's that group. If in fact it turns out that he is part of the sovereign citizens group, they are certainly considered a far right group. I wouldn't, from my own personal belief, I wouldn't say it's a militant group. It's just a group that doesn't believe in government and government control. They don't believe that the government and laws apply to them. So I think it's fringe one way or the other. I couldn't care less. It's people trying to do harm, and thank God we prevented it, Bianco continued. Officials said Miller was taken into custody without incident and later booked into the John J. Benoit Detention Center for possession of a loaded firearm, possession of high-capacity magazine. Miller, in an interview with Southern California News Group on Sunday, said he was shocked that he was arrested and accused of trying to harm Trump, who he said he supports. These accusations are complete bull, blank. Not say that word. Miller said, I'm an artist. I'm the last person that would cause any violence and harm to anybody. Well, okay, buddy, but look at how you're trying to come into an event, especially with what's happened. Give me a break, right? Hello, Sig Steve. Hello, Michael. Why would he be released? I mean, further investigation in this situation would necessitate that you hold this guy for further, till you find out more about this. Absolutely ridiculous. But look at where they were at. It doesn't shock anybody. Well, 6 Steve, he said he was a sovereign citizen coming in with fake passports, driver's license, tags, and loaded weapons and trying to get into the event at Coachella. So, you know, come on, but this was breaking late as I was, I guess, as I was in church. I saw it immediately after church. I obviously didn't have that on the schedule to talk about tonight, but certainly we will and are. Uh, and are we shocked? I mean, I don't think any of us are shocked that are paying attention that this is going on. And I said this coming, I mean, starting Tuesday officially because of the holiday tomorrow for federal employees. I mean, Columbus Day. But the Tuesday, early voting begins here in Georgia. Already started in some states. But are we shocked that this happens right now because things are heating up? And I mean, I don't find that to be shocking at all. Although it saddens me greatly. Um, I would just tell you my experience with a sovereign citizen. Again, I really don't care. You know, every video I ever saw of them, they make themselves look stupid. I'll just say it. Well, they just believe they don't have to follow the laws of the land, that they're above and beyond, and that the rules don't apply to them. I was on and I feel for law enforcement having to deal with these lunatic idiots. I'll just say it. They are lunatic. They're lunatics, and they're dangerous. I do some security and have done some security outside of my normal work for several years now. And I was at a big box store and I was doing security and we don't usually say anything. People sit on the property a lot during the day. I mean, that's just the way it is. People hang out. Some people ain't got nowhere to go. They'll sit in their car, they'll read, they'll play on the phone, use the bathroom in the store, come back, all this kind of stuff. And sometimes some stores will even stay through the night. That's their business, not mine. My job is just to work the parking lot. But behind the store is a different story. And so usually if I can kind of tell somebody's just trying to get in the shade back there and they're on a phone call or something, I'm not going to bother them. But I went around the building a few times right now. I hadn't been at work long. This is probably like 2:30 in the afternoon. It's on I think a Friday, Saturday. And anyway, there's this person who I had seen the day before. I think I'd seen them the day before, but they looked like they were reading. They were in a different area. But they were in the very back of the store, which is not a place where the owner or the managers feel comfortable with people being there. So I pulled up. They were reading something, but I went up, and as I started to go around, I pulled up beside this vehicle. So our cars are like facing the same direction. I'm in this car, so to speak. I get out, I come around the other car. As I came around the front of her vehicle, she absolutely gave me the look of death. And I'm like, I didn't know what I was dealing with. And I don't want to go through the whole story, but I go through the whole. I just, hey, ma'am, how you doing? Just checking on you. And she cracks her window, and I just tried to, I told her why I was talking to her, and that it's not a good place to sit. That it's not the manager's not comfortable you being back there, your own camera. And they asked us to clear that area. She said, I wanted to use the shade. I said, I understand. I'll give you a little bit of time. You can kind of move on. But then there was no problem there. I mean, I could tell she wasn't happy that I talked to her. But she said this, and this is what shocked me. She said, and she gave me two. Well, first of all, she said, you're lucky. And I said, what do you mean I'm lucky? And she said, I could have blowed you away. I said, what do you mean you could have blown me away? And she said, the way you come around my car like that, I don't let people get close to my vehicle, and I could have shot you. I said, you're on somebody else's property, and I'm security for that property. I have every right to come up and approach and see what you're doing back here. You're and she goes on to say, well, and this is when I found out she was a sovereign citizen. And she was saying, the laws of the land don't apply to me. And if I had blowed you away, I can't be charged with anything. And then she begins to tell me about a case down in the city or right outside the city that I live at, and at a local park where families go and kids are playing and everything, that she got in some trouble because an officer came up behind her car checking on her, and that she said that told the officer the same thing. He was lucky he didn't get blown away. And so that warranted further investigation on their part about this woman. And I was like, you don't need to be doing stuff like that, And she says, well, I'm defending myself and I have a right to defend myself. I said, there's no threat. She said, if you get within 30 feet of my car, you're a threat and I can blow you away and nobody can do anything to me. I'm a sovereign citizen. And so at that point, I just said, you know what? I'm not going to argue with you. I don't care. I really don't care what your deal is. Because sovereign citizen or not, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to stay in this area. And if you don't move on, then I'll escalate it. And she said, oh, you're going to try to make me? I said, I'm not going to make you do nothing. I'm security. I'm going to get the law enforcement on you. And you can explain to them your sovereign citizen status, and you can explain to them why or why not it don't apply. I just have no patience for that stuff. Listen, we've all got things that we don't like, that the government overreach and trampling of rights. I'm all on board with that. But when you say that no law applies to you, because we always have to have the rule of law. We have to have law. And to say that none of it applies to you is lunacy. You are a lunatic, and you're really just stupid. I'm sorry, because it never works. Don't you just love the videos where they post up and they say they're not going to provide ID, they're not going to get out of the car, what happens? The window gets broke, they get pulled out of the car, they get in cuffs, and they go to jail. And I thought, well, what did your sovereign citizen status do for you on that? Well, they would say, well, they broke my rights. Well, how do you have rights? If the laws of the land don't apply to you, how do you have any rights? I mean, don't the laws provide you with those rights? Don't the Constitution? But if you're not a citizen, the Constitution don't apply to you. What rights? Human rights. She would say, my God-given rights. But God tells us to obey the laws, as long as they don't trample on our Christian belief, those things. We're not gonna bend and do things that are against those things. But anyway, I don't want to go completely down that rabbit trail. But it is applicable to bring up because this sounds like the same thing. I mean, the things he was saying there in the article. And I haven't seen the interview. I'm assuming it was, I don't know if it's video, but anyway, they interviewed him. But once again, some nutcase that gets, within at least secure. They did their job, and I'm thankful for that. So here we go. And it's just different groups. But yeah, Michael, they do think they're their own leaders. They think they govern themselves. Whatever. Okay. Again, freedom, you can believe that. You can believe it in your own mind. And yes, you can even act on it, but you got to pay the consequences. And the consequences are going to be that it's not going to end well. It's not going to end well. And I guess you think by going before, doing that and filming the video or whatever it is that you get out of that, I think they would believe that they're advancing the cause. I don't believe that, but whatever. So yeah, they think the rules don't apply to them. So anyways, back to the event, but they did intercept him. And so it's just interesting that he says he backs him. Well, why would you back anybody? You're a sovereign citizen. That don't apply to you. Does that mean you don't vote? There's a lot of questions I have about that. But so anyway, I don't know what the deal is, other than to say, if you're going through a point of security and you're going through all this rigmarole to say that you're trying to fool security, you're up to no good. You can call it whatever you want, but you're up to no good. You're running multiple aliases, and passports. Really, is this guy going to do a job and get out of the country? I don't know. Mental health. I don't care what it is. It's another threat on President Donald J. Trump. And for that, we say, no way. We got to deal with it. We got to take care of this. And he shouldn't be on the streets. There's enough there to hold him for a long time just on one of those charges. Any one of them, pick one. But in totality, all of those things that he had going on, really, you're going to release him on a $5,000 bond? Come on. No. Seriously, come on. That's crazy. Anyway. Yeah, Michael, it's just crazy. So Vern, good old Vern, we've learned more about Vern than we ever wanted to know, and sadly, because of his what he's tried to do, seemingly, I can't say exactly what his intentions were, but I think we can theorize that. So you have heard that he told them that. Anyway, he's whatever his deal is. This guy needs to be behind bars, and we'll show him how we take care of sovereign citizens, especially those who are out to do damage to President Trump. So that was breaking news this afternoon. I am going to dive into a little bit of other things, not a ton of things, but I do want to talk about that just to kind of catch up a little bit because I really have, well, except for front porch and the Sunday morning, haven't been on a line much this weekend. I was working, and of course, church and things. I did go to my manager training Friday night for our election day and early voting work, and I'm doing 2 days of early voting, half days, and I'll do election day. It was good. It was good to get back in the room, kind of get back in get your mind kind of wrapped around that because you don't do it every day. So just refresher. Kind of we go through a lot of things, the do's, the don'ts of elections. And it's pretty straightforward. I mean, all the things that we were really cautioned to look for, and it's not surprising. And I said during the primary we would have things to that we would have things to look out for, and they just wanted to remind us that people cannot wear they cannot wear campaign or candidate materials, apparel, and stuff like that in the precinct when they vote. Of course, we know that. We have dealt with that a little bit at our precinct, not a lot, but a little bit we have. And to make sure they're not doing that, or all the little rules like no cell phones and just the general stuff we usually do. But I did find out we're going to have added security, and I'm glad to hear that, especially with nuts like this running around. Added security over what we saw in the primary, and I'm not going to detail that because I don't think that would be proper. I will let them do their duty and all the things that go on with law enforcement. And so it made everybody in the room feel good, though. I can tell you that they were relieved to hear that. So we don't anticipate trouble, but you have to plan. And so that will not start Monday. It will start Tuesday. Of course, absentee ballots are active now. And what we did as a scenario and a practice session was to actually work on a provisional ballot. And a provisional can be done by anybody, depending on, if they have time. Like the scenario we did was they didn't bring ID. And it was there was two scenarios. They didn't bring ID. You can go and do a provisional. You have so long to go back and prove that ballot with your ID. And so we worked through that. The other scenario was showed up too late on election night to get back. Went to the wrong precinct. Don't have time to get to their precinct before polls would close. So we would do a provisional on that. There are different designations on the provisional ballot to mark as a code. And it was good to walk through that because honestly, I've never done one because we don't normally see that. And I don't recall. We started to do one. I can't remember. It might have been the last election that we had here, but they decided against doing it. It was when they found out it's going to take 15 or 20 minutes. They're not really happy to do that. But so, Michael, you did get your ballot. That's good. Sometime during this process, we'll have you come up and talk about that. I think that would be good if you're willing to do that. So, Michael, for those that don't know, that's listening in the stream from wherever, and we thank you for listening. Thank you for your support, wherever you're coming in from. He does vote absentee, and due to his own situation, he doesn't have to have a reason, but he does. He has a very good reason. Anybody can do that. And so he's going to do that and vote and take part in that. I will be filming Wednesday a short video of my oldest son who has never voted, and he is going to vote, and he's in a different county than I am. And as a dad, and as a as a voter and a citizen, and all, he wanted me to be along. He didn't really ask me, but I said, well, I'd like to go. And he wanted me to go, so we've talked about it. He has to work Tuesday, so we're going to. He works Monday, and he'll be resting all day. So we're going to go. I think it's Wednesday, and that's a good day for us to go. Then we'll get a little bit of a video of him coming out and talk to him a little bit. If I can get him to say anything, he's shy, but that's going to be fun to do, and it means a lot to me. And it's just different reasons why he never has. It's not that he doesn't care; he does. He just whatever. It doesn't matter. Water under the bridge, and nobody pressured him. He said for himself, what I need to do. I want to vote, and I want to vote for Donald J. Trump. And he's just frustrated with what he sees, and he's excited about it, and I want him to have that excitement. And we always celebrate first time voters when they come in. They usually tell you, "This is my first time," and we like that. So. There's some polling data that's coming in. It's amazing, these polls. I love it. That's why I don't trust polls. They're all over the place. We got one saying landslide one way, one saying landslide the other way. Then you have a whole another one. I think is the New York Times or Washington Post one day, neck and neck. The race is neck and neck. I don't. Okay, where did you poll and who did you pull from? Who knows? But they're all over the place. Of course, President Trump was in Reno, and one of the listeners that came in, he's not here tonight, Colt, said he was at that one. So I was anxious if he gets in here tonight or tomorrow night. Would love to hear how that went for him. I watched a good part of it, heard a lot of some of the I was watching on unfiltered news, which is good. I mean, they just whatever's there is there. They don't. And a couple of the speakers they got a little potty mouth. We'll just say that they're fired up, and some of the language was, whoo boy. I'm trying to think of which one it was. Was it if anybody saw that? I think it was Dennis Quaid. But every one of them was laying it down. Wow, wow, wow. Yes, he was in Arizona this evening. You're right. You took the words out of my mouth. I had a little note about that. I wasn't going to say a lot about it. Kamala has went back into North Carolina, and they know that the importance of Arizona. I mean, listen to where they're going. I mean, right, Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Georgia, they're going to continue. And of course, they'll hit other places as well. But that's going to be that's going to be where they're going to be going because they're trying to drum up support there in those really tight races, and I say again the undecideds that are just disenfranchised voters. They feel like they're disenfranchised. They don't like the choices. They were either Biden supporters, those that just lost their vote. I mean, they have a vote, but they lost the one that they were voting for, and so that just got pushed to the side. So they're not happy, or many of them. I can't speak for all of them, but I think there's a lot of them pretty ticked off about it. And then on the other side was, Trump's, opponents, they were voting for them, and now it's him, obviously, and they're not happy about that, but that's just the way it is. But I think before they come along, yeah, that's the operation, the modus operandi. I mean, that's what they're going to say. So this is one of them. He's just all bad, and of course, no policies. But they are trying to beat the drum on a couple of things right now, Michael, that and it's obvious they've kept bringing it up. And let's see here. That's about where he was at there. I wanted to bring up this one. Let's see. I'm sure let me find the right one here. I think it's this one. I just grabbed the address, and as they went into North Carolina, that message was for them. They're really trying to hit on this. They're trying to spin it around where Trump was really on Biden about health. They're trying to attack him on his health. And so she's went for this, I mean, she's a lot younger, and so they're trying to point that out. She went to she went to the doctor and said, "Hey, look, everything's great. I think President Trump should release his medical data, and we need another debate." I mean, I think they're reaching. I think that they know that their messaging is not good. Their messages are not good. They don't have a good message, and so they're really trying to press those. Of course, today was Sunday, so all the Sunday shows, that's all politics. The early Sunday shows. Uh, J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, they were back to back on Fox News Sunday. Biden was in the Tampa area to survey damage from Hurricane Milton, and Clinton's out there stumping for Harrison, Georgia on Sunday and Monday. Harris and Biden both hit storm hit areas. They were in St. Pete, Florida. Again, it's all the dog and pony show. I mean, that's what it is right now. The polls, some of the polls, national polls, are trying to say she as the lead, and anyway, but that it's tightening up, and you're going to hear all this up until the day. The detractors of Trump are out hitting all the shows and getting their faces in the articles and on TV and everything. General Milley, he's a fascist to the core. Like we're going to believe anything from him. There's two or three of them. They've got him out there beating the drums of how. I mean, they're trying to turn up the heat, and he's horrible, and he's bad, and you don't want this guy. He is working around the clock, Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Michael. There's that messaging that Obama has is not playing well. I don't believe. To me, it sounds like desperation. I mean, it really does. Desperation. And I'm not saying she can't win. She certainly could. But I do think the campaign is a little bit of desperation mode. I mean, here we are. What is it? 23 days tomorrow, something like that. And so we're just almost 3 weeks away, just slightly over, and it's just going to heat up because it's getting down to the crunch now. And I want to tell you, they're spending money left and right. I couldn't even watch football. I had to turn the sound down. Every other commercial was, bashing the former president and Harris and Walz, and that. We're gonna. It's a new day, a new page. We're gonna turn the page. All this stuff they're saying. Oh my goodness. I didn't see this one, Michael. Michael says that they did a fake photo op in North Carolina at the reserve base, having the soldiers load a C-17 with relief supplies that wasn't even taken to them. So, by the way, can we just say it? I mean, how bad do you have to be to fake stuff? How easy would it be to actually have the real deal? And who are the people who are over this campaign? How inept do you have to be that you continue to do this bad messaging? Yes, I do, Steve, to the core. To the core. Do I agree with everything they do? No, because every country has things I don't agree with. But these people are the only thing I would say the reason they're so inept is they've gotten away with everything for so long. They feel like they don't have to really have facts, true facts, and they just throw stuff out there. But they are inept. They keep making these same mistakes about fake phone calls. I mean, pictures that are not accurate. I mean, it's just bad looks. It's just bad look all the way around. And it's just crazy. I had one, yeah. The campaigns. I mean, everything is about framing. Framing your campaign right now. It's like when you put your hands out like a camera. What's in the camera? What's in view? You don't want to be off camera. You want a good photo op. Good filming, that's why you get all this stuff set up. And every time they do one, and I mean it's a fail. I mean, how many times do you have to fail till you get it right? I mean, come on. That's interesting there, 1977. Well, by the way, there's probably, oh, I probably shouldn't say it, but I haven't been face to face, but we can do that in America, can't we? I mean, really? Honestly? Can we do that? Um, there's a lot of them. They talk that game anyway. Years ago, several years ago, on my podcast that I was doing that was ministry. Well, we do ministry here, but this has a lot more elements to it. It wasn't built to be that. But we covered news and we covered things that affect the church. And way back, several years ago, I was doing reports on people that had infiltrated things around the country that were funded and ran by and supported by communists. And some of those were elected leaders, and they were getting secret photos and films of stuff that was laid out on the table of all the literature where they were in places around the country like Chicago, or other places, and even but small towns. And they were, trying to train people up to infiltrate into the local political parties, all the way from school boards and on up. Whatever it may be, and to befriend people and make them think you're your friends, and then find out who you can sway and pull your way, and just tear apart these groups and associations and get yourself elected and all this stuff. And so, but yeah, well, is there any tornadoes out there? I don't know of any. If there's any out there, I think the storms have kind of settled down. But if you know of one, you let me know, buddy. When she tried any photos, she failed miserably. She does fail miserably, Mike, on this. And again, she's supposed to be the hip one, Absolutely. By the way, she talked about President Trump's rallies being boring. Hers look not attended very well. They must be a little boring because a lot of people don't go. Anyway, we have, and I just want to say, because we're a little over 30 minutes through, and we're going to be having a lot more about this. But if you're into energy drinks, we have now doing an affiliate with an energy drink, and they have merch and different things as well. But you've probably seen these out there on the Facebook and everything. But we're now also affiliated with Dubby Energy Drinks. They've got the packets, they've got the powders, and they've got the drinks themselves. And you can get 10% off by using our code Southern Fried. So Dubby, we're going to order some in and have it here, and we're going to it's no sugar. They've got some no sugar and parts, and we love those things. Put those in water. I'm gonna get some of the packets, I think, and try them. They say one of those, I forget the ounces, is like 2 cups of coffee. So I'll still drink my coffee, but I might try one. But Dubby, and you're gonna be seeing more about that. We have an exciting affiliation as well. We're excited about that because we like Dubby and energy drinks. And Robert, he drinks them more than I do, but a lot of people do drink them. And so if you're into that kind of thing, we certainly would ask you to go on there and look those up. But we have an affiliation we can't talk about yet because it's not finalized. And so we, 100,000 people at rally doesn't say boring. That's true, Michael. But we do have, we have one we're working on right now. We can't say that we do because it's not finalized yet. But we've got another one that we're really excited about. And we feel good about it. We just have to wait and see. You got to get all these things official, but we're hoping to have a couple different affiliations. We're working on one for coffee as well. And anytime you order those things in and use our code, you'll help the podcast. So we'll have the store, and we'll have some affiliations as well that you can help the podcast. And you're helping us by watching and giving us your time and stuff, but in a different way. And we'll also be posting up our Venmo and different things if you'd like to donate into the thing, buy a cup of coffee, so to speak, and do those things. It'll all go back in the podcast. So we'll be talking about that. And I was in the that was a big one. That was one that's talked about more than I guess anything, and has caused, there's been a lot of that's been used. You don't hear as much about it nowadays. They still go back and do stories about it, but that definitely has been in the news. And even back when John Kerry was running for office for president. It came up a lot. So, well, when did that happen, Mike? And was he okay? Did he survive? So that's what I would say. And I'm sorry that happened. You know, so we always feel bad if anybody gets caught up in a bad storm and gets bad things happen, be it tornado or something else. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more about, and then we'll run a couple of commercials. Hey, Colt is here. I know. We just been talking about that. Fight, fight, fight. That's right. I was hoping you would pop in because I wanted to ask how the Reno event went. I think you said you were there, and of course Arizona and Coachella and all this different stuff. Where he's going, but you're right. We covered it at the beginning of the show, and that's right. You did fail, but what a big fail! They let him go. This guy's out doing interviews and stuff. Really? Let's put this guy inside the inner prison. Nothing but water and bread for you, buddy. Lucky you're getting that, just because we are compassionate people. But yeah, that's horrible. I mean, and this story just the more I read about it, the matter it makes me. But the sheriff does the only thing the sheriff can do is do the investigation and arrest and everything else. That's up to others that do releasing. So that's where we're at in this country, right? I mean, I know a person right now who's a good American, and they struggle. They're struggling, and they're sitting in jail right now. I just found this out. I'll get that in just a second, Cole. Let me make this point. And they're sitting in jail right now, and because a tag was out of date, and they didn't know it. I don't think they knew it, but they had a ticket they hadn't paid for, and they had a warrant out, and they went to jail. It's a grandmother. I'm not saying that what they should or shouldn't have done. All I'm making the point is that this lady is in jail on and she's got to come up with several $100s to get out. I'm hoping they can get that done the first of the week. I mean, nothing can happen tomorrow. I think Tuesday they're going to try to get her out. It's just sad and tragic. We're going to try to help where we can, and already we're very close. And yet this guy who does this walks. I mean, I thought go in and reset this and cite her to court. Let her get a chance to clean this up. She's on a fixed income, and it just really frustrates me when I see that. So 2008 that was, Mike. But yeah, let's go back real quick because I do want to not get past that incredible event. Glad to see Americans out in full support of somebody who wants to actually help regular folks. Yay! Hey, I'm regular. I'm about as regular as they come, man. I'm not decaf. I'm just regular. Oh man, I've been talking to a lot of folks. I've been jumping in some people's lives online when we're not doing stuff, and I've been talking to some truck drivers and a lot of patriots. I've been looking for patriots and really just trying to get the flavor of the country. I'm talking to people. And y'all probably do that, like you come in here. I go into a lot of different ones, and I make friends, and they're all saying the same thing. I mean, they're all over the country, and we're all networking here, and we're all on the same page. There's some talk a little more radical, but than I would. But we're all on the same page. We are all on the same page. Let's go back here because we don't want to miss this. My buddy got captured by North Vietnam. He fought against the South and played a major role in North Vietnam's victory. He was a coal man, did what he had to do to survive. I've heard stories like that, brother. I've heard stories. Yeah, Michael, right. Mike says it was 2008. Amen to this statement. Regular folks are what makes this country great. It absolutely is. Your regular Americans, hardworking, small business owners, people that have faith, and they take their kids to Little League, and they're not out here trying to tear down. They're trying to build up. Okay, Michael. Hey, you take care, buddy. And we'll catch you in the morning, buddy. I'm going to be on for a little bit. And I've got other shows. We're gonna get caught. Last week was crazy. I've got some shows I'm going to be catching up. So you're going to see me a lot over the next 2 or 3 days. That's good. I like being on. So, well, there are be that, but I do know some, Steve, that's okay. That's okay. Good night, Michael. You have And that is sad, Brother Coulter. I'm so sorry to hear that. So I understand your passion about it and everything, and that's just sad that you have that happen. Absolutely. I lost my best friend to murder. Uh, when I was 21 years old. Excuse me, 21 years old. My oldest son, who's going to be voting, we're going to film this Wednesday. First time voter. I've been after him for years. Come on, man. Come on. You got to stand with us, man. He's finally doing it. Proud of him. And he came to me. We're going to film that. But anyway, he was just a little baby. He was like 3 months old, I think, when he died. And it's very tragic. However your friend dies, that's tragic. And so I hate that. There are some aggressive ones. I'll tell you this. I was coming back from church, and I think I had my son in the vehicle. We used to ride together, and the wife and the other son would ride together. We'd take two cars. There was two reasons we drove two cars. One was I would always stand around and talk longer. My wife would get home and get, dinner, or she went to work earlier and she'd want to get home and get things done. And I'd be there. I basically helped lock up the church every service with my pastor. The other reason was we didn't have a lot of people in church at one time. And we thought extra cars would look good in the parking lot. Hey, look at there. They're getting fuller. But we ended up doing that for years. It really worked out. But I was getting back up on the interstate once, and I had to get in between two trucks because there was no other way in. I mean, there was just a little space there. I slid in, and as soon as I could, I got over. And I went on. I was stuck for a minute. We got on up to the I rode with them just a little bit. We got on up to the way station. So the traffic was stopped. And this guy, his whole front of his truck was the Joker. I mean, I'll never forget the look of it. So I went, they went on in, traffic went on, and I went on. Well, I look up and I can see the stacks just smoking. This guy's coming. And by the time I saw him, I knew that I would not make another exit in time. I just had a little Ford Ranger, and he had a full head of steam coming. So my gut told me this guy was up to no good. And so I'm riding up the interstate. I was in the middle lane, three lanes. He's in the right lane, and I just held. I thought, well, he could wreck me. He could, but I more likely figured he was going to try to do something stupid to scare me. And so it was the second one. So what he did was he brought his trailer over, and I'm not exaggerating it. It had to be about 2 inches from my bumper. I'll give him this. He cut it as close as you could without wrecking me. But I never wavered. I never waved. I never acted up. He got his little laughs, his little jollies, and he went on down the road. I gave him a lot of space, and I went on. But yeah, you're talking about crazy. That guy was absolutely crazy. Never know, Colt. Never know. Oh my goodness, Steve, that's caught in a trap, accidentally shot himself in the leg and died. Sorry to hear that. Very good possibility, Colt. Very good possibility. There's definitely foreign actors involved. To what extent? Who knows? So that will probably have to be dealt with for sure, because the Middle East is blowing up and they're causing it. I mean, they're supplying the drones and other things to Russia, and that's not a secret. In fact, the leaders of Iran and Russia met to talk about, further Russia's wanting to help them in their battle, and so they're sticking their nose in the Middle East because they're supporting Iran. And so you got these two bad actors that are, in tandem, and Putin's rolling in the oil money off the black market and everything else, and he's buying drones by the droves to use in Ukraine from the Iranians. And so any factories that the Israelis could take out, or anybody else, it's not going to bother me, because they're just building these drones and going in and trying to just cause mass casualty damage to installation and or people, military hardware, innocent civilians, whatever. And Russia fired off so much, they depleted some of their stuff, so they had to outsource. They don't have the means within the country to do it all, so they pay them. So that money is in turn sent over to pay for the hardware and everything that's going into work against Israel into all those terror organizations. That's been going on for decades. Um, but yeah, it's just yeah, yeah. There were threats back in the Bush days. Yeah, and well, there was that time where a bomb went off near Daddy Bush's motorcade. Some they think that was definitely was an attempt, but these are trying times we live in, crazy times, and we're very divided in the country, and there's a lot of there's a lot of people that hate the country. There's a lot of people that are mentally ill or on drugs or both, or there's people that's probably being paid to be do damage. There's people just willing to do it. There's infiltrators, illegals, you name it, all of them there. So Hurricane Milton blew me. Well, yeah, man. I mean, it did a lot. By the way, my aunt said she come out of that great. It did some damage, yes, but it didn't do the damage that they were expecting, and I'm glad of that. This was just time to recover. I saw some good activity up in the Appalachia. They were building, they're building bridges and getting roads back in shape. It's going to take some time, but they're working on it. They sure are. Sorry, I got to drink my coffee, man, before it gets cold. I hadn't had a whole lot. I had a little small cup this morning. That just didn't hit the spot. I'm usually tired on Sunday, Monday because of working late on Saturday, church all day on Sunday, or back and forth and some other things, and then going in Monday. But Monday night, Monday night's my drain night, so I'd really have to try to real hard on. Sometimes I'm Mama said, not always, but sometimes when I get off that program, I just crash. I'm tired, and then I'm really geared up for the Tuesday run back into pushing hard through the week. Well, and that's true. And I mean, they make money off of that, but they did hop up that storm, and it was, it could have been a lot worse, and it was not to the level. Mike, sometimes you come out with some odd stuff, brother. Not Michael, but Mr. Coulter. But sometimes I wonder what I'm doing up here, but I do laugh. You make me laugh, and that's always a good thing. But had a good day. By the way, again, for those that just came in, notice on our stream, I know it's not in your area, but if you want to hear a good election politician interview, our third district, Georgia House of Representatives, Mitchell Horner, was in about an hour and 12-minute interview today with us that we recorded. Then we put it up on the streams. It'll be going. It'll be going on the rest of them. X is the one I have not been able to get it up to yet, but I'll be working on that. But that's good, and we're going to try to get 53rd District State Senator Colton Moore. He's friends with him as well. He's going to try to do us a solid there, and it always helps to have friends. I can reach out, but he don't know who we are. And we're gonna. Oh, a top. I was like, I got you. It's hard to understand sometimes when you see those things, and it's like, what in the world? There's a whole website somewhere deals with bad text, speech to text that don't do right, and things that were sent before they're proofread. I've done the same thing. I've caught myself before. I sent stuff that had been very embarrassing too. Like, what? I didn't say that. And I wasn't upset. I just thought that's kind of weird. He is, but you know what? I like eclectic. I like different. As long as we're all behaved in the thing, it's all good. Reminds me of Contori. He probably take that as a compliment. So, y'all come in here and you bring different things to the table, and I'm all good with it. And we get a little wild and crazy on here. We like to laugh, so it's it's just the way it goes. And so, I'm good with it. I don't expect everybody to be exactly like me. I was in a stream last night. They were really having a very deep, hard discussion about something. And they finally asked me if I wanted to come up, and I talked for a few minutes, and I just told them, well, you handle a kind of a rough situation the right way. A guy was trying to defend a position he had, and it was not it wasn't a nice conversation, but because anyway, but I felt like the way they got through it was good, and I told him that. So we had a good discussion, and I've, just one of those that I've made friends with. I don't go in every day, but I try to pop in. I don't try to put myself in somewhere unless, sometimes I just want to listen. I really do. And when you get to know them, sometimes you can do that. They know you're cool. They're just listening. But if you don't talk, then they kick you out. They think you're a bot or you're there spying or something. Um, I just try to pop in them when I can. I got some time to kill. I'm not saying there's always something to be done, but sometimes if I'm at work, my security or something, sometimes you're just killing time. So I'll pop into one. Hello, and to you, thanks for coming in. Hope you're doing well tonight from Facebook. You're better than the Cantori. Okay, well, you have brought more to us than Cantori does, because I don't get to see him all the time, and so I can say that you have brought us a lot of good, valuable information about storms. But definitely welcome to everybody that's popped in the stream. Sad to say, a little revamp. I've got some news I'm going to do on the other side of the break, but definitely just a review here. Sadly, it seems like another attempt on the former President Donald J. Trump's life. Those stories are out there. You can go read the news articles, but this guy should be in jail. He's not. That's point number 2. Point 3, the campaigns move on. Trump is moving on to different places. J.D. Vance and Walls were on the Sunday shows. Kamala, I like how President China, Kamala, he kind of jokes around. By the way, let me just finish that thought. She's in North Carolina, stumping there, and Clinton was in Georgia. Biden was out there, showing support for the hurricane. That's cool. He needs to do that. But every day, one of the major news, whether it's newspaper or TV, almost every day, they pick something apart that Trump has said, and they'll say, they'll say he said something just horrible about Kamala. Every day when you go read it, it's like that's a lot for him. It was this afternoon. San Regina, they stopped him trying to get into the Coachella event. Fake passports, fake license, fake tag, loaded guns, bad story. And then Michael said that he actually said he was a Trump supporter, not, but he's a sovereign citizen. Vern, what was his last name? Miller? I don't want to say that wrong. I'll get in trouble. But it's Vern something, but it's in the news. But that was this afternoon. Yeah, she never comes to California. Well, she did the damage in California. They don't want to see her back out there. And I would be happy about that. Today, a few storms have been recorded across Texas. Okay, that's good. We've been good over in our area. Yeah, they just don't, quit. I mean, who's behind this? But yeah, thank goodness for an officer doing his duty. But can you believe this? They let the guy go on a $5,000 bond. He's out there running around. I mean, they confiscated his weapons, but like Michael said, he could go get some more. I mean, I'm sure they're watching him, but oh well. I mean, what's his next move? I guess I think it's a place in the desert, so it's become known as that. But they do the concert there. But it's a place you can have big events because there's room to have it. I guess I'm not an expert on that area. I'll say that. So, but it's become known as that. I don't know who came up with that. I know that first big event was when I really started hearing about it, when all the bands were. And wasn't that the one where they had all the rain and the mud? People got stuck, and it was a big old mess. Wasn't that the one that they was talking about? Yeah, I agree. That's the things that make you go, definitely. That's important to point out. I thought just hipsters went there. I thought it was just people that really wanted to get messed up on dope. I mean, honestly, it's kind of like that. Is it the modern day Woodstock? They all go out there and the Burning Man. Thank you, the Burning Man. That was not the same place. I'm sorry, maybe I got it mixed up. But Yeah, whatever. I don't know enough about the area. You'll have to be our expert on the ground. You're going to have to get us some information. Burning Man, Nevada. Sorry that they had I got those two events mixed up. Sisters in Nevada. Hurricane begins in the Caribbean Sea on the 29th. There is a new one. It was a female's name, correct? What was that? It was because they went female, male, now back to female. And I think it was like Cindy or something like that. The good old Robert Blevins is not on tonight. He doesn't normally do. But by the way, he was speaking about you today. He was so glad that you came in, and he'll be glad to know you came back. But he and goodbye to all of our Instagram followers because live because they only let us do an hour. Shame. We were on earlier doing the interview, and he's been clearing wood or some trees he cut down from his property, and he's probably wore out. So if I had to guess, he's probably in bed by now. Because we were supposed to do a couple other things, or at least one other thing, and that's going to have to wait till tomorrow. So, yeah, won't work on Sunday. Yeah. He told me that they got all the wood back, so they're going to have a big bonfire. Burning Man is like Woodstock, I guess. Not really a concert, though. It's a community for a few weeks that is self-sustainable, whatever, bunch of hippies, I guess. I kind of took it as that. Who was at the Burning Man the first time? Do you remember? Was that like because the Coachella wasn't that their event there as well? Help the old brain out here. One was a lot of, I mean, it was pretty wild. One of them, I mean, Fleetwood Mac played one of them. I remember that. I don't remember which one it was. But you had a lot of your grunge bands and stuff like that, I think, that were a part of one of those. So, yeah, I'm not really sure, but yeah, they want to go off in the desert and have music and get freaky, whatever freaky is freaky does. You know what I mean by that? Whatever goes. And that's the whole point in it. It just all goes. It's kind of like that kind of event, free. I'm free. I can do what I want. That's what I think it is. But yeah, Robert will be back with me in the morning and tomorrow night on Mama Said. So morning 6 o'clock, the morning show tomorrow night. Mama Said, and be looking for a sports show. We're going to do a sports show wrap up and other things that's coming. I'm like I said, but last week got me behind just a little bit. We're going to catch up. Way too liberal for me. Yeah. So it's Northern Nevada Burning Man. Why do they call it the burning? Ain't it because they make it that they kind of build something and they burn him? He looks like a man. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I know just enough about it to get myself in trouble tonight because I never really. Yes, definitely. I do the sports on here as well. We're going to do a sports wrap up of college and NFL football. Touch a little bit on the baseball playoffs. We'll try my best to get that in tomorrow. But certainly by Tuesday, all programs are going to be caught up. Yeah, big bonfire at the end. They burned the Burning Man. Burn him up. Oh, my goodness. Where do they get this stuff? I guess you could just say it's like bonfire. I get it. But why do it have to be a man? Burning Man. Well, it's good marketing, though. I bet they sold a lot of T-shirts. The Tide, what is going on? I mean, they won, but they could have easily lost that game. You're right. I mean, I don't know. This is just really strange for them. And I would say for Georgia and Alabama, neither one of them is ready to play Texas. No, they're not. Golly, they look bad. Georgia ended up getting a lot of offense, but they made a lot of mistakes. But you're right. Mike says, storms and lightning in my neighborhood. Let's see. You know what's weird out here in California? Well, there's a lot of weird out there I could talk about. Looks like no structure. There's definitely concern about where he's at with what's going on that team and are they playing together? Milroe has not looked the same. He just, I don't know. At times he looks like all world. I mean, he throws the ball at the flick of his wrist and he's, touchdown. But then he looks like he should run sometimes. Okay, what is this? So you'll have to, hold on. Let me get that up on the thing here. Amian Grove, it's in Monte Rio and here in Northern Cal. So you're saying that is weird. That is weird. I was in I'm gonna tell myself. It's nothing real bad or anything, but I was a real young guy. Uh, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't get to see the game. Well, I did watch a little bit. I did touch in base with it and watched probably the equivalent of about a quarter and a half. But I didn't see that. Yeah, he wouldn't have that go on. He can't be happy to see that. He'd blow a head gasket. He really would, and they would be on the bench for doing stuff like that. But I was at this place when we'll say a local establishment, like I said that way, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, I met these people. We're going to go up to their house on the other side of the river, and we're going to hang out." And we did, and they were all young. Every one of them was young, and they was all had these like service jobs, like working at restaurants or working at a store or whatever. But they all worked. Praise God, they all worked, and they all pooled their money, and they rented this really. It's kind of an older house, had a lot of great architecture in it. They had hardly no furniture. It was like a commune kind of thing. And I remember the living room had a really high ceiling. I mean, like beautiful ceiling. This place could have been made into something super nice. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't falling apart, but it just needed, a lot more could have been done to it. And there was no furniture. You sat on the floor. And they all worked different hours, different places, and every one of them were, burning down. We'll say it that way. And I was looking at my buddy. I thought, what am I doing here? Like this is like strange. This is not my gig. So I didn't go back up no more when we left, and he did. He started hanging out with them. I said, they may be all right kind of people, but I just can't. I can't hang with them. I'm not into that scene. And that was way before my serving the Lord. I'd had, but I was kind of out there just exploring, I guess you'd say. And but yeah, Mike says storms in the middle of the night and tornado in '05. Yeah, a lot of odd stuff. Have your partner look it up too. It's strange. It's an elite club for all the Illuminati. Ooh, there's that word. If I'm not mistaken, only billionaires are allowed in. There's a lot of that. Is that like the Bilderberger kind of thing? Weird stuff goes on out there. There's a lot of that around the world. A lot of that. By the way, if people only really paid attention, it's like the billionaires. I'd say they're all sheiks. They all probably billionaires that have these massive yachts, and they do the. I'm not going to say much here because I don't want it to cause the channel any trouble. But if you know what I mean, they do the 24-hour wedding. You have the wedding and then divorce, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I have seen one before, my friend. Not a big one, but I have seen one. Uh, any size is big to me, but I have been there for over a century. Wow. We'll have to do some looking into that. Thank you for sharing that. Interesting, my friend. But yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff out there. But haven't we seen that with a lot that's going on? I mean, around the world, the Epstein deal and all that mess, and there's others like it. Let's talk about a couple. First of all, let me just run a couple ads real quick. I hope y'all stay with me. If not, take time to go to the restroom, refill your coffee or whatever your beverage of choice is, and we'll be right back. I do need to run a couple of ads, and we'll be right back as soon as I can get it set up here. And we'll do one for ARA. We like to do them. We're going to be having them back on soon because we've not had them had news from them about pets, but they have had a couple of adoptions I saw on their Facebook and X account. So there are a couple of animals that went to their forever home, a cat and a dog, if I remember right. So we're thankful for that. We'll be right back. Here at the Southern Fried Podcast, one of the blessed things we've been able to do is partner with the wonderful people at Animal Rescue Alliance, Inc., ARA. These folks are a no-kill shelter in Donaldsonville, Georgia. You see the contact info on the screen. And these folks would love to have you come adopt a dog or a cat. They have folks that come from all over the United States, not just the state of Georgia. They're great folks. It's been a wonderful partnership between Southern Fried Podcast and ARA. And we've been blessed to meet some of the folks that have adopted animals from ARA. Also, we've been able to encourage people to donate and volunteer. They encourage volunteers that are in the area, and they're just wonderful people. We'd love for you to contact them, meet them too, go on their website, see some of the animals, and we know you'll want to partner with them too by taking a dog or a cat to their forever home. Join with us, the Southern Fried Podcast, in support of this great work of the Animal Rescue Alliance, Inc., ARA. We know you'll be happy you did. I know we are. Hey, this is Dave with the Southern Fried Podcast. Please join us each Wednesday evening as we go live for Hump Day News, where we talk about a little bit of everything. We'll laugh a little bit. We'll tell you a little bit of sports news and other news that's going on. Each Wednesday evening at 7 p.m., join us for the SFP Hump Day News live. You're midweek, making your way through another work week. Join us, and we'll try to make you laugh a little bit and keep your day a little brighter. Hey, this is Dave with the Southern Fried Podcast. You know, one of the favorite things that we do is sit out on the front porch with a glass of sweet tea and just talk about whatever. That's what you do on the front porch. Wave at the neighbors as they go by, or even a stranger. We're friendly people, and we like to just talk about whatever. You never know what Rob and Dave are going to talk about on the front porch, and sometimes Chris joins us, and then you really don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll laugh a little bit, we'll shock each other, and maybe, just maybe, you'll join in with us and chat with us on the front porch. Join us live for Front Porch Talking each Friday night at 7 p.m. That's your friends here at the Southern Fried Podcast. All right, we're back. Just a couple of things I want to pop up on the screen. We did have this interview today with Mitchell Horner, our state rep, 3rd District. Had a good time talking to him. He gave us over an hour of time, and it's quite an interesting. It doesn't matter what state you're from. He covered a lot of issues that would be, and you just learn stuff about politics and how things work, and how he's trying to hold people fiscally responsible for some things. He's ruffled a few feathers, I guess. For that, we would say, great job. It's kind of good to have feathers ruffled just a little bit. As well as I pulled this picture up. This is a beautiful picture. I don't have one for the Senate side up here. This is the House of Representatives side of Georgia. That's a very old historic building, and they're redoing some work on that building outside now. But that is the House side of the Georgia State Capitol. And there's the outside look of the building, the gold dome, as you've seen in Atlanta. And I'll have to get one up for the Senate. I've not been. We're going to go down and be. He said he'd love to have us come down and be guests. And there's a gallery section you can sit at. And he told me that that this is directly above the governor's office. So I've been in the governor's office a couple of times. Been able to go in there and take photos at the. I'll have to find my old photos when as I met with the governor. And just a photo op, and we got to say a couple of words, but there was a few people there with us, and was glad to get that. I've got that somewhere. I need to get it out and dust it off. But anyway, and above that is the people. So just an interesting thing that we had, and was glad to have that interview with him. And then, as well as, if you're into energy drinks, go to Dubby online, and you can get merch and the energy drink itself, or the packets, or the powders, or whatever. Use Southern Fried, you get 10% off at Dubby, and everything that you do will have the podcast. So we're going to be talking more about affiliations and affiliates that we have, and that will be coming. So we appreciate that. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Whoever you are, but we've got a lot of people come in the chat while we were gone, and so we've got the crash dummy. All right. So let me catch up here a little bit. Elon's in the chat. Oh, man. Well, welcome to our program, and we appreciate you being here, and all are welcome. No, I didn't. I actually just sit right here. Somebody's got to run the controls, brother. This is a very low, a very low budget thing. We do a lot. We do it all. We just say that. We do it all. Me and Rob, and then Chris has helped us. You haven't met Chris, and He's a YouTuber as well, but he's done a lot for us, logos and stuff like that. So anyway, I just catching up on some of the chats here, but we appreciate you being in here. And you actually, Steve, declined an invite to that place. And so, Steve, as Colt said, that's an odd place and a weird place. Don't be so rough on Rob. Oh my goodness. But no, Steve, I didn't. I just stay here, No, he didn't. He's just a young guy, so he didn't. So I am not doing that. I'm actually at the command center for the program or the podcast. I do have a new studio that I say building. We're working on it. We've just got a couple things we've got to get, and we're going to put it all together. We've still got to put some things on the wall and some wiring and stuff. But I'll be going in a new studio around the turn of the new year. Hopefully before, but we'll soon. It's going to allow us to on my end. It'll allow me to expand the studio a little bit and have some guests in studio, because right now it's kind of tight. Couldn't really fit in. It's kind of a tight area and not a lot of room and disruptive to the home and all that. So, but we'll be talking about all that. So, the command center is where I sit right now because I'm the one running the controls. So that is the command center. Hi to you as well. So you know how it is. You gotta do it all. So I gotta run the chats, and I got to run the controls for the commercials and keep this thing going and whatever I pull up. Other news article today from the campaign is from an NBC News, and they say that Trump campaign requested more military support for the former president's protection. Joe Biden says he's getting top level. Well, I don't know about that, but they did have that attempt today. Didn't get too close, or not close enough, and we're thankful for that. But he's saying that they have requested additional security measures similar to what a sitting president would receive amid the increased threats. And this article was before this is what happened today. So this is what sources are saying that are familiar with the matter, according to NBC News. And they go in and talk about what happened last month, but they have requested that. But you know what? I don't believe nothing this administration says about some of those stuff, because they never did give Robert Kennedy Jr. any kind of protection. They just ignored that request, and they were slow to give support, the added support. I mean, after all, what we saw that attempt was, that looked like Keystone Cops out there, and finally somebody got the job done. But yeah, it was. Y'all be nice. Hey, Crash Dummy, this is an eclectic group. They just throw it all out there, but they good folks. Sometimes you gotta have a little thicker skin. I'm sorry, but that's my guys. Oh man, we're all over there. We got Colt in California. Sig, I forget where he's from, but I'm babbling about you. I'm talking about you. So my intent is to talk politics, but I'm talking about you. So he says I'm babbling, so I'll move along. So I'm not going to babble about you anymore, Sig. I'm just going to move along. And let me go to my next news article. So they've requested more help, and I don't think they've probably gotten with any of that they needed. CNN, boy, they're trying to throw the scare tactics, right? So this is what CNN is saying. Headline, this was out today. Trump suggests using military against enemy from within on election day. Well, they're really trying to scare everybody. Former President Donald Trump suggested that using the military to handle what he called, quote, the enemy from within, end quote, on election day, saying that he isn't worried about chaos from his supporters or foreign actors, but instead from, quote, radical left lunatics, end quote. I think the bigger problem are the people from within, which I spoke about the other night, We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. Trump said, told Fox News, Maria Romo, in an interview on the Sunday Morning Futures. Quote, I think it would be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen, end quote. For a president whose supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to skip over that. But they always got to go back to that. He says, I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages are being inundated. He said, referring to immigrants from whom Trump has repeatedly attacked with dehumanizing rhetoric. I love how they come up with these phrases. So Vice President Kamala Harris' campaign seized on Trump's comments, arguing that they should, quote, alarm every American, end quote. Quote, Trump is suggesting that his fellow Americans are worse enemies than foreign adversaries, and he is saying he would use the military against them, end quote. So anyway, that's the back and forth that's going on right now. I think we realize what he's saying, and I think that they ought to be worried, many of them, because they might be the problem. So yeah. Your grandson helped storm the Capitol. He's dead. Well, wow. That's and I missed some of this, but so y'all carry on. Sound like I got good conversation going on. I appreciate that. But let me continue on. I do want to do one other news source here. Let's see, Washington Post. And this is more, they're just covering where Harris went to North Carolina, Trump visits Arizona, and they talked about the vice president. I didn't get the quotes from what Wall said. It's pretty typical what he's been saying lately, though. And then there's the different things that are going on. We talked about Milley. Okay, not that one. Let me go. That's not the one I want. Let's see here. Oh, here's one I wanted right here. Okay. This is from Colo 8 News Now, ABC affiliate. This was in Reno. This is the one that, Coach, you were at. I wanted to give you some, you were there, so you got firsthand news. Former President Donald Trump made his second campaign appearance in Reno on Friday, speaking at the Grand Sierra Resort. Everyone will prosper. I did like this quote because I used it today online for the podcast, and Trump quote. He said, everyone will prosper 25 days before the general election. Every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. We are going to bring back, and here's the thing, the American dream. And that's where I wanted to kind of get to tonight. And this will be that and whatever we want to talk about at the end of the program. What is the American dream? Because I think different people have different ideas on what the American dream is. So I'll ask anyone that's listening to this, and I'll ask those in the chat, well, what is your idea of the American dream? I think all of us would agree that the American dream is very hard to achieve right now with all the things that are going on in our country. So, but yeah, the American dream is that to have the house and the 2 cars, to have the small business, to be your own boss or whatever you want to say. What is the American dream? And if we're going to make America great again, this will be my MAGA minute that'll come out tonight later on. What is the American dream and what does it mean to you? So, well, okay, man, take a nap. Just don't take the dirt nap, right? Just nap on, man. I'm sorry, that's all I got. So, oh man, I am what I am, man, by the grace of God. So this is the news show, and so I'm sorry I can't make it too crazy because that's what we do. We do cover on here, but if you got to take a nap, you got to take a nap. I get it, man. Sometimes I nap during a good football game. I'll wake up and I'll go, oh, the score changed. And by the way, speaking of that, I will divert a little bit since we're talking about news. It's sports news, but the Detroit Lions total dismantling of the Dallas Cowboys today. Wow, what a shocking score. Man, and did anybody see the horrible leg injury that Aiden Hutchinson from the Michigan college, that star playing doing great for Detroit, the horrible leg injury. Did you see that? That was just um, that's just horrible. But y'all carry on with the comments. I'm gonna just carry on with some things here, and so it's y'all kind of going off on different directions, and I'm glad y'all having good conversations. Carry on and have fun. I'm going to continue and finish up the show here, so my thoughts are not diverted. Just y'all get a little crazy on me. I do remember Rob. I can say he's fine, but I think he was really tired from stuff that he was doing today. He's over his sickness, although I still probably getting over the allergies. He'll be back on in the morning. Join us in the morning for not Hump Day News, for the morning show. The morning show, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll be getting off here in a minute. I've got to get ready for that. I got a couple other things to put out tonight. That is the news of the day. Holiday tomorrow. My kiddos on fall break, so they don't have any school. So I won't be taking any kids to school. Yay! I can do the programming and going to work. I'll be working tomorrow. It's not a holiday for me. And then tomorrow night, Mama said we will have a topic. We have a topic we didn't even get to last week because we had all kinds of discussions going on. So we'll probably try to get. I have two things we're going to cover tomorrow night on Mama Said, and then we'll talk about whatever in the morning. We'll update you on the news, any further news from the attempt today, and campaign news, and kind of get you ready for your work week or whatever's going on in your neck of the woods. We hope you have a wonderful start to your week. We're going to be again very busy this week. A lot of recording, a lot of live shows. A couple shows we haven't done in a little bit. I'll be doing those. Sports show will be coming up. Southern Talk. Man, I'm behind on that. Got to get that. We're going to be talking about the state of Kentucky and covering this case about the sheriff or the judge. We'll touch base on it anyway. We will, and not just that. It's not going to be just bad news. We're going to talk about attractions. I like a couple of attractions that got up there, but we'll talk about that on Southern Talk. And then I remember that. We'll talk about the topic when you look at it. So that was recorded. It's not live. I'll remember that unless I change my mind. It's possible, but I don't know. I would look for that probably on Tuesday. I've got to do sports. We're going to do Mama Said. We got funnies that we're going to be recording. For those that are new to us, you haven't seen our funnies unless you've went on YouTube and looked at our old stuff. And we were doing funnies Monday through Friday. We got kind of away from it with some things that were going on. And we'll get back to that in the AM, or well, not in the AM. We'll do those tomorrow, hopefully, and get those up for the rest of the week. Pets of the week. Hopefully by Wednesday, we'll have our dog that we're going to highlight. If nothing else, we can highlight the beautiful animal that has been the longest at the rescue. And this is not Vern, that stupid sovereign citizen. This is Fern. And this dog has been in the shelter for over 2 years. So remember this dog. Looking for a forever home. And great dog. Robert got some video of that dog playing with it. It's been 2 or 3 months ago now. And we've tried to highlight to get somebody to. That's the Animal Rescue Alliance in Donaldsonville, Georgia. And you can easily look them up. Please donate to them. They also have a silent auction that's coming up. We're going to try to talk about that some, as well as hopefully first of the week, some point, we're going to talk about the new affiliation we have, and we're kind of excited about it. I think we'll hopefully be able to partner, and it'll be pleasing to patriots. So we're working on that side of the tracks very hard. We've got a lot to get done. We'll be some QR codes will be popping up, ways you can donate into the podcast. We're not begging for your money, but if you want to help and would like to do that, then it'll be fine. It'll just go into keeping us furthering the outreach and that we're doing. I will be also doing we have some interviews to line up that I hope will be of interest to you. They're all over the spectrum, and just like the one today, but there'll be different ones out there that we'll be covering. So we're going to jump off here. That's about what I have for tonight. Appreciate all of you. Appreciate all of you in the stream. Me and Rob will be back early in the morning. And have a great night. And God bless to all of you, and to all a good night. And do have a good night. Get some good rest. Get ready for your work week, or you're just if you're retired, whatever it is you do, what you do. And thank you for the new people that came in, returning people that came in the stream. We'll be kicking off loud and proud in the morning. It's Monday, and we'll be excited about it. And I'm gonna film a special thing this week where I'm gonna go out and talk about some of you probably missed it. We're going to talk about. Well, I'll just leave it to be a surprise. We'll talk about that. And my son's going to vote for the first time this week. We're going to do a little portion on that and talk about that. And I'm going to try to get down to the Republican County store down in my county. I want to talk to those folks down there a little bit more this week as well. So it's not going to be boring. We're going to be very busy, and we're going to bring a lot of different types of stuff. So thank you for the support, and God bless, and we'll see you next time. Let me get to that closing music. Rob will give me a hard time.
Well, once again, it's time, my friends, for another meet and greet. We're Southern Fried and nationwide, so hang on to your seat. Look around, here's what I found. I guess you'll never know what you'll see on the Southern Fried Podcast Show.